Welcome to Everyday Life. Thank you for joining our podcast, Conversations Over Coffee. My name is Jen.
And I'm Dagda.
And we're going to hit you with the explicit content warning right off the bat. This podcast does include adult situations and adult language from time to time.
I'm an angel. I never fucking cuss.
Okay. Anyways, you ready to go?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go. It's just so big and round.
She must be one of them rappers' girlfriends.
It's like, oh my God, Becky. I don't know why. It just goes with everything, and I like it. I walk around sometimes just singing it to myself.
Sir Mix-a-Lot. Legend.
Absolutely. And he's the sweetest guy ever. I've met him 2 or 3 times now. Met him when I used to work for the lawn care company, and his eyes are pretty, and he's a very, very sweet man. And he's, you see pictures of him on the TV and you think he's this big giant guy, and he's not actually big giant. I mean, he's heavier set, but he's actually not that big giant guy. He's more like a cuddly bear, like a koala bear. Anyways.
Wow.
I know. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing a lot better than a koala bear, that's for sure.
Why? Koala bears are loved. I mean, now that the wildfires are over in Australia.
They're also riddled with syphilis and are basically retarded.
Okay, then Sir Mix-a-Lot is not like
that's why I was
bear.
Like, wow.
He's like a panda bear. My favorite kind of bear.
They're
a
also
panda
fucking
bear.
super stupid.
It doesn't matter what I say, you're going to find a flaw in the fact of something that's just sweet and innocent. You just are going to find a flaw with it. I mean, are red pandas better?
I think so, but not a whole lot. Puppies are better. Yeah. Unless they're like golden retrievers or something. Those are fucking dumb dogs. Anyway.
Anthony Kane, Sir Mix-a-Lot, is an extremely intelligent, nice guy. Yeah. I like him. And I like it every time I hear his song, My Posse's on Broadway, start to play. I just like it because it's My Posse's on Broadway. Posse up! I just like it.
Yeah, the only thing from that song I remember is literally that phrase. My Posse's on Broadway.
Yeah. Ooh, I like buttermilk biscuits too. My beats are, square dance rap, I guess.
Now you're making me think of the Fat Boys.
Okay, yeah, let's not go that far because, like I said, he's not actually this big, giant, fat guy.
No, because he's talking about biscuits and they're talking about jelly rolls, so. I did not need a jelly roll.
Yep, and now all I can see is, ew, and your jelly roll is the little epic rap battles.
Oh, yeah. You're the king of jelly rolls.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's not squirrel too much today. Because Jesus knows, I almost cried a little bit with Wikipedia because you just wouldn't let me. I was just so proud of myself. I did the research on Wikipedia because that's my favorite website ever. And you were literally like Gandalf. You shall not exchange the knowledge onto the podcast.
I let you exchange lots of knowledge. And then I exchanged some too.
And made fun of me the whole time. The whole time.
No only half the time.
Exactly. Okay, so anyways, so we talked before about this. We've talked about it a couple of times. You were a military man for 6.5 years?
Yep, I hope I was a military man.
Well, I mean...
I suppose in the first couple of months, at least, I was a military boy.
That's correct. I think you became a man the first time the drill sergeant yelled at you and you didn't want to instinctively punch him back. That's the difference between a boy and a man. A boy has that thought, I'm going to punch your face. And then a man's just like, well, it's your world and I'm your squirrel and you tell me what nuts to get. Period.
Wow.
You're welcome. Anyways, so military, right? U.S. Army, right?
Yep.
And what was your MOD? MOS. Not MOD, for fuck's sake.
I don't know what a MOD is. My MOS, like I said before, they changed it.
Right. What did it used to be when you were in the...
It was 31 uniform.
Which relates to...
It's a signal system support specialist.
So that means you work with communications?
Yes, I worked. It was part of the communications corps. I worked on radios and telephones and computers and.
And so having that knowledge is what you be able to go into like the cable industry for a while after.
Yeah.
A lot easier, which makes sense. I mean, I'm going to ask this and we're going to see if we can get through this a little bit easier because we actually did record an episode that was almost 2 hours?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things which was really interesting because when we got done recording it, I could see the look on your face and it wasn't so much like, yeah, this was a long episode. It was more like, I'm not ready to share the entirety of that yet.
Yeah.
So we're going to cut down to the nitty gritty, right? So I've got some United States Armed Forces facts here, and then I'll ask you some stuff about your military because I know I've had people ask me about you being in the military, and I'm just like, I don't know, ask him because it's not my place to divulge it all.
He wore a lot of green. That's the answer.
Was it green or was it khaki? I mean,
no, the Army. I don't remember.
Because let me tell you what the BDUs they wear now.
Those aren't khaki either.
They are tan and khaki.
There's no cack on that camouflage.
Ain't no cack on you. Anyways.
That's the Navy. The Navy wears all that cack. Anyway. Carry on.
Plenty of United States service members wear cack.
Oh, yeah. I bet
and enjoy cack.
Yeah. Yep.
And they get thick in the cack. Just saying.
All up in the cack.
That's right. Just remember, anybody under the age of 40 that's getting up in the cack now, you did it first. No, I'm pretty sure you were there when the uniforms were straight up a green.
Yeah, they were
right?
They were woodland camo the entire time I was in.
Yeah, you didn't have cool ones. You just had What's really interesting is I am pretty sure your uniform color was the same that my grandfather's uniform color was.
It's a good chance because it was like right after Vietnam or something that they started. Because I believe during Vietnam they had two different ones. It was the olive drab, just a plain.
My
olive
grandfather
drab.
had olive drab when he was in the military in World War II.
Yeah. And then they also had the tiger stripe stuff. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I think that was only select units had that.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. I wasn't around during that time.
My grandfather wasn't in the military at that time either.
I was barely born when that shit ended. So
I'm just like, weren't you kind of like for the most of Vietnam? Weren't you just kind of a thought in the bottom of your dad's sack?
I hadn't even developed in my dad's sack yet because
he was like, not ready for future endeavors yet.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. So, do you know when the United States Armed Forces started? When it was founded? And I ask this because this is apparently something with most of the guys in today's Army, depending on what branch they are, they need to know when the U.S. Armed Forces was established and when their branch specifically would have, because most branches have two names, their original name and their current name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was like 1775.
Ding, ding, ding. Good
for
job.
The Army, at least.
That is correct.
I think the Navy was founded at the same time, or maybe actually even before.
Nope.
And then the
just
Marines.
Just after, in 1775, though.
Yeah, and then I think the Marines were established at the same time
1775.
as the Navy. Mm-hmm. Now, I can't remember, because originally the Army wasn't supposed to be a permanent thing. It was only supposed to be, as far as federally, it was only supposed to be created during times of need. Mm-hmm. So, like, after the Revolutionary War, the Army should have gone away completely, but I think they actually kept the Navy and the Marines. So I think there was a brief time. I think technically the Navy and Marines have been around longer as far as continuously than what the Army has.
So I didn't read that far.
I think.
The Army portion may have had a break, but what I can tell you is the very first armed forces was the United States Army. That was not known as the United States Army. They were known as the Continental Army, and it was founded 14th of June, 1775. on the 3rd of June in 1784, it officially became the U.S. Army, Department of the Army.
Okay.
Right? So, yeah, they're officially called United States Armed Forces, Department of the Army. That's their official name.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, again, so as we know it now, as we call it now, the U.S. Army was established the 3rd of June, 1784. It's been continuous since then. So there may have been a break somewhere between 75 and 84 of the 1700s. Don't know. But currently, we have approximately 453,000 active duty members.
Okay.
328,000 National Guard members that fall underneath the Department of the Army. 171,000 reservists. 947,000 total uniformed personnel, with 223,000 civilian personnel and 4,400 crewed. Yeah, CREWED.
Yeah.
Crewed aircraft personnel. That's just for the Army. That's just all the shit that just falls underneath the U.S. Army, the Department of the Army.
Yeah.
Which is really fascinating because it took my brain a minute to go, wait, what? And then, I had to kind of work that mathematics out in my head and went, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest employer we have in the United States is our
the
armed
military.
services. And so then the United States Navy, so the U.S. Navy did not come before the Army or the Marines. So first, under the United States Armed Forces, in the 13th of October, 1775, we had the Navy came before the Marines.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's because they're both, so Navy and Marines are both run underneath the Department of the Navy. So it just confused me for a second, which is like totally normal if you know me. Anyways, so in 1775, they were known as the Continental Navy. And it was the 27th of March, 1794, when they became the United States Navy, or United States Armed Forces Department of the Navy. And they've got 345,000 active duty, right? They have 57,000 reserves, 210,000 civilian employees, 2,600 aircrafts, 480 ships. 300 of those ships are deployable at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
Which is that's crazy organization skills right there.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah, because the Navy, the Army's kind of easy in my mind, at least logistically. The Navy's fucking insane because all those ships have to have maintenance done on them.
Yep.
So you can only have them out there for so long. Then they have to come back, and then they have to stay
because the maintenance takes a year.
Yeah, and then that's not looking at the logistics of actually stocking them with fuel and food and all that other shit that you need. That's it's crazy. It's
just so crazy that they have, you think about it, they literally have more than half of our actual boats at any given moment ready to go anywhere in the world, which is crazy because that is super quick response time at the ready.
Yeah.
It's not just like, we've got the USS Jefferson over there in the Baltic Sea. Let's just, let's go send them over to Virginia for a while. It's,
Yeah.
But they could do that if they wanted.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. But the Marines themselves, because I'm a goofball, so the Marines just so close to the Navy. The 10th of November, 1775. And they were known as the Continental Marines again. And then in the 11th of July, 1798, is when they became the United States Marine Corps.
Okay.
So their technical name is Department of the U.S. Armed Forces, Department of the Navy, U.S. Marine Corps.
Yeah.
I swear to you, it feels like it gets longer and longer with each different division. That's not true, but it feels that way.
Yeah.
And they're of course a much smaller group.
Yeah.
They're a more elite group too. So 168,000 active, 33,000 reserve, and just 1,300 crewed aircraft members. That's it. They don't have any civilian employees. And that's because everything, again, is falling.
That's because they rely on the Navy for most of that stuff.
Yes.
They don't even have medics, which blows my mind that they don't have medics. Instead, they rely on naval personnel for that.
Yeah, but every Marine I've ever talked to when I was moving them, all of them are trained in
First aid.
first aid, combat first aid, I think.
Yeah, I assume they also have like their equivalent of combat.
Yeah.
What was the fucking class that I went to? Combat Lifesaver course.
Yeah.
Which is basically it's not the same as being a medic,
Right.
but it's more intense, also more specific than general first aid.
Right.
Because it's focused around basically preventing you from dying from the most preventable things that happen. So basically blood loss and oxygen deprivation.
Yeah.
It's focused around those two things.
Yep.
Because, well, they did their research and they're like, okay, most people who die on the battlefield die because of these two reasons.
Yeah. Because even if you can stop the blood loss, you got to figure out how to oxygenate your body.
Yeah, because like the one thing that I really, really remember from that course, because most of it was just general, more or less the same thing as first aid, was sucking chest wounds. Mm-hmm. So with a sucking chest wound, basically you get something punctures your rib cage or whatever.
Yeah.
And then what will happen is as you breathe, it will suck air into your chest cavity.
Yep.
Through the hole.
Yep.
And then as you exhale, it won't come back out.
Yeah.
And so it will just build up pressure. Blood will also sometimes fill in.
Yeah.
There's two different versions of it, basically.
Yeah.
And so basically learning how to prevent the air from getting sucked in there and also how to get it so that it will come back out again.
Yeah.
The techniques that they have for that.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I can say for sure, and I can assure to anybody out there, is that you definitely kept those skills in your brain, because we had an incident at the shop about 10 years ago, maybe 12, and there was a fall and a big cut, and you stopped the bleeding and got the person to the care they needed.
Yeah.
Like you did such a good job. They just kind of moseyed to the emergency department. They were like, "Let me have this cigarette real quick," and then we'll go. I can't believe I did that.
I mean, he wasn't bleeding super bad. He didn't hit any.
No, but
major
it
thing,
was
but
nasty looking.
Yeah, it was nasty looking because it was just a giant tear.
Yeah, because it wasn't even like a cut.
Yeah,
it was like anyway.
Because the thing that he landed on wasn't sharp. It just tore his skin.
It was just like, oh, there's some weight coming down. Well, I'm steel and I'm not moving.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was really cool to see that in action, because you were just literally, I remember you going, sit down. You were just
sit here, put your foot up on that.
Yeah. You were very calm about it. And I was just like, what the f is going on? And you were just like, it's not that bad. But I could tell by the look on your face, I could literally see your brain, like almost like a Rolodex, go flip to your training and go, okay, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
But it was just, I don't know if anybody else has ever seen it, but that's literally the only way I can describe it, because you were like, sit down, leg here. And you were like, 2 blinks. And then you were like, okay. And then you just got right on it. And it was so fast the way it happened. I was just like, he's got a Rolodex in his brain too. That's awesome. Then we were even better friends. Okay. So then, so then also falling under the Department of the Navy, United States Armed Services Department of Navy, is the U.S. Coast Guard.
I didn't know that. It makes sense, but I thought that they were just straight up their own branch. I mean, they're considered their own branch, but I thought that they were completely separate.
So they were established August 4th of 1790, and they were originally established as the Revenue Marine Division of the Revenue Cutter Services. So they were their own thing. How we know the United States Coast Guard today, that was indoctrinated, set up, changed, or whatever, 28th of January, 1915, and they became, you're not going to, United States Armed Forces, Department of the Navy, United States Coast Guard. That's their full name. They've got 41,000 active members, 7,700 reserve members. They have 21,000 auxiliaries. So I think those are like people you can call in times of emergencies or something.
Yeah, they're reserved.
Like they're like standby. Like if you run out of reservists, you can call us.
Or, I mean, I don't remember. I think the Marine Corps, they're, no, it's something completely
and
different.
then they have 8,600 civilian employees to it.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's really all the U.S. Coast Guard people I've dealt with as far as military moves went. I dealt with 4 of them, and all of them were either going to Alaska or coming here from Alaska.
Huh.
And it was like I had 3 going to Alaska, 2 to Kodiak, and 1 to another one, and then I had 1 who was coming here. And that's because his term of service ended, and he was re-upping or changing into the U.S. Navy.
Okay.
Which,
yeah, I don't think I've ever met anybody who was actually in the Coast Guard.
Oh, really?
One of the sergeants in my last unit he was getting ready to ETS, and he had basically gotten changed over. He was joining the Coast Guard.
Right.
And I was asking him why, and I mean, whatever, it's his business, but
right.
He was talking about a bunch of benefits that he got and a bunch of interesting things. And apparently you don't get moved around as much if you're in the Coast Guard. You tend to stay wherever you're at.
You'll stay where you're at for 6 to 8 years at a time.
Yeah.
There was one of the guys that was moving up to Alaska was super excited because he was here for 16 years.
Wow.
He was here from day one.
Yeah.
And he was like super freaking excited. He's like, he literally was excited. He's 35 years old and he's finally going somewhere besides his home state.
Yeah.
And
which you joined the Coast Guard, dude. You chose the wrong branch to do anything about that.
Because there's not as many locales to go and there's not as much of a need.
Yeah. I mean, the Coast Guard doesn't have stations in Germany and shit.
Right.
It's just CONUS.
Right.
Well, I'm sure there's Coast Guard at Hawaii and all that. But.
Yes. So the last part of it we have is United States Armed Services Department of the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool because it's almost the baby armed forces. Almost, not quite.
Now it's the second middle child.
Now it's a middle child. It's got attitude. That explains so much if you think about it, right?
I mean, the dude who set up the Air Force kind of wanted to create a new knighthood, and that's kind of the way they function.
Yeah.
The pilots are all officers, so it's like the nobles go out and fight, and then there's a bunch of people that support them. Right. So it's almost the opposite of everything else in the military, where it's the grunts, the fucking enlisted people are doing the vast majority of the work in all the other branches of the service. But in the Air Force, it's actually officers that are doing the majority of the actual work that the that branch is doing. Yeah. So
it's very interesting because you're saying that, and there's actually this story that they turned into like a movie, an animated kids movie, I guess, and it's called The Willoughbys. Okay. And that's literally what you're describing. I literally hear Mother and Father Willoughby going, "Oh, like they can't be bothered. Like, oh, you peasants, go away. Always wanting something from me." Anyways, but we're not squirreling. So 18th of September, 1947, our Department of Armed Services, United States Air Force was born. Mm-hmm. We have 300 these are estimates, obviously, because they can't keep real-time tracking on everything, right?
Yeah.
About 322,000 active members, 105,000 Air National Guard members, 69,000 reservists, 496,000 total uniformed personnel, with 148,000 civilians, and 6,500 current air patrol auxiliaries, and 5,500 combat aircrafts. And I left a couple of numbers off because I'm just like, That's crazy. I'm not going to go there, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, some of these, like, it's when you hear people talk about the United States military, our United States Armed Forces is our biggest employer. You don't really think about it until you hear the numbers. For us, we're near a base.
Yeah.
We see it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and what's more interesting is the housing is so unaffordable in our state anymore in many of the places that there's a hotel out on base. And it was completely plumb full of people waiting for housing because it's never, especially with the base around here, they've been going through and doing renovations and upgrades and then, of course, expansions, and everything just takes forever.
Yeah.
It's literally like, if there's one thing, like, I don't make any bones about what people make when they're subcontractors for military. It's like, you know, they make what they make. But the fact that I have literally, in my experience, driven by these job sites and worked across the street on base at some of these job sites and seen these guys literally just sitting there playing on their phone for 6 or 8 hours in a day, not doing a darn thing. I'm just like, okay, so that duplex, you just build them $750,000 for that duplex. But all I've seen you for the week I've been here is just sitting there playing on your phone.
Yeah.
So you know, it's a matter of being responsible with what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we can keep having contractors through anywhere if they're not going to do their job.
Yeah, it's funny.
Can't milk them.
When I was first at Fort Bragg, there was a huge swath in the division area of, you could just see, what are they called? Foundations for a bunch of old buildings.
Yeah.
And it's like a couple of acres of just foundations.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on over there? And one of the people who had been there for a while, a couple of years ago, they tore all those buildings down. They're supposed to replace them, but they haven't yet.
Yeah.
And then, like, our barracks in the division, the 82nd Airborne Division area, were World War II barracks that had just been converted and updated.
Yep.
And so a bunch of those had been torn down. And then, they were supposed to be moving along and replacing them. But it had taken years. And then when I left for EOD school, they finally started building some of the new barracks. And when I got back, they had actually completed one set of them.
Right.
They were really nice, but they were these big horseshoe things. Anyway, they hadn't even started tearing down the other barracks yet, but they were going through because there was some big to-do about asbestos at the time. So they were going through and clearing out the asbestos in a bunch of the office buildings, not the barracks, the office buildings.
Right.
Which is kind of understandable because you got to move everybody the fuck out of that building. Yeah. And you got like 300 dudes in one of these buildings, and there's no place to put them. Yeah. So,
it's so I've been out. I'll tell you what's really creepy. I have been at buildings that they've slowly been emptying out because first they say they're going to retrofit them, right? Okay, so. One of the buildings on base, on the Army base, there was no retrofitting anything because it literally was from foundation to rooftop, huge cracks in the side of the brick buildings. And these were like 3- and 4-story buildings. There's no retrofitting that. Yeah. As a matter of fact, the service member was so worried about mine and my helper's safety that, like, literally as soon as we'd pack a box and I'd track it, like, and we were setting it on the dolly, like, literally he would take the box off the dolly and he'd be like, ask a question. I'd be like, let me look that up for you. And I'd have to go look. He was taking them down the stairs because he didn't want us having to take these stairs. And I'm not kidding. We're cattywampus. They were left and right, like walking in a fun house. And it was terrifying because we were were we on the 3rd floor? We were either on the 2nd or the 3rd floor. And when you're carrying a box and you can't see which way the step's going, and my helper on, the last box coming down, my helper, everything had been leaning, the last 6 steps, everything had been leaning to the left, except for the very bottom step. the very going down flat was leaning to the right.
Yeah.
And when it leaned to the right, it wasn't like it was just off by like 3 or 4 inches like the other side where you were just kind of like doing a gangster lean walk. He went down into a dip. It caught his heel and it twisted his ankle.
Ugh.
He's lucky it didn't get broken. And he was so mad, but he held it together. And as soon as the guy ended up having some stuff in his car we needed to pack, which was fine. No big deal. It wasn't like it was a lot of stuff. It was like 800 pounds or something. But what was funny was after it gets done and we get back in the truck and he goes, well, what's today? No, it's Wednesday. I was like, halfway through the week. Yay. And he's like, well, I was going to do leg day tonight, but I guess we already did it, huh? I guess we'd been up and down the stairs.
Yeah.
And anyways, yeah, super crazy. So anyways, we have one more branch.
Yeah.
Department of the
baby.
Armed Forces. We have the baby. Do you know what the baby is?
Space Force.
That is correct.
X-Force.
And
Extreme Force.
there.
Anyway.
Force, you weirdo. Department of the Armed Service, United States Air Force, U.S. Subsidiary U.S. Air Space Force.
Okay, so
It literally, when you read it, it's like boom, boom, boom. Department of the Air Force, United States Space Force.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes sense to have them combine. I mean, so when the Air Force was created, it was part of the Army.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think after World War II, or maybe it was after World War One, they separated them and made them their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of makes sense for the Space Force to be part of the Air Force, kind of.
It sure does. So, do you know about when it became official?
No, I don't remember.
The 20th of December, 2019, the United States Space Force became enacted. It has 9,400 personnel members.
Mm-hmm.
And
at this point, they still don't have any spaceships.
the whole ideology behind them is they are being specifically trained for space warfare.
Okay.
So, and that, if somebody comes with a, WMD, if it's flying through the space, they're supposed to deal with it. If somebody attacks our satellites, they're supposed to deal with it.
So that was one of the things I was assuming, that they were like in control of the satellites and stuff, with the military satellites.
Yeah, they watch over everything. And, and it's interesting, but I mean, there's part of my brain that's going, we have already had that enacted by our U.S. military, watching all of this stuff and but now these guys are being specifically trained for space warfare.
Yeah, I mean,
just the wording of it is so bizarre to me. And I know somebody who has a nephew who was just accepted as a space
cadet.
I was not going to say that. I wasn't going to say that. As a Space Force member.
Okay.
Because apparently it's really
Space
easy.
Ranger.
There you go. That's so much nicer.
But they're definitely not Space Marines. Anyway.
No.
I mean,
wait, speaking of Space Marines, do you know that there's a whole thing over in, I think it's in Nottingham. It's either in Nottingham or Edinburgh, England. And it's an entire, basically it's a Space Marine museum.
So
did you know that?
You mean Warhammer 40K?
Yeah, but very specifically, they're doing a Space Marine display right now.
So the Games Workshop stores all have crazy displays or whatever. Yeah. And the locations that are manufacturers. Mm-hmm. So when I was stationed in Maryland, there's a town, Glen Burnie, and they had what is called the Battle Bunker.
Okay.
Which was I don't remember if it was North America or just the United States, but it was the place where all the stuff that got sold in the United States more or less got manufactured. And they had a store there also, and there's a giant Space Marine out in front of it. And I think there was a Rhino, not a Land Raider, but a Rhino.
Right.
One of their little tanks.
I just saw a little clip of it on the Insta, and it was just oh my God, they finally have it open. It's a museum for Warhammer 40K. And right now, all their Space Marines are on display. And it's just like,
Okay.
so is it somebody hyping something up? I don't know. I was just like, oh, hey, by the way.
Well, they
didn't make a
have,
squirrel, but-
it's called Warhammer World.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a giant
And maybe that's what it
and
was.
it has like a bar and all
Nice.
kinds of shit because of Bugman's Ale, but it's a Warhammer fantasy thing.
Yeah. Well, I just know that the picture they showed coming through the door and then they were told to turn their camera off was that big blue space guy we just saw.
Yes.
Space Jesus or whatever his name is.
Jesus.
don't know.
That's the wrong cartoon. I assume you're talking about a Smurf. I mean, an Ultramarine.
I don't know. He was blue.
Yeah, they have a sort of a not quite navy blue. It's a little brighter than
Yeah.
navy blue.
It's like
And
somebody
it
took navy blue and periwinkle blue and mixed them together.
And then they have a upside down Omega symbol
Yes.
as their, okay, that's Ultramarine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, squirrel. So, okay. So I thought that was interesting to know how much you might actually know about the past because, like I said, there's a lot of service members. When I was moving them, they were like, "Oh yeah, you got to know that shit. Every branch that you're in, you're supposed to know. You're supposed to be able to know." And I don't know how
Yeah.
enforceable that is. I just know one guy in particular was just like, "Oh, I can tell you right now." And I remember 1775 because he was just like, my drill instructor made sure I knew.
Yeah, sometimes that sort of, the Marines are way more up on their history, I think,
Yes.
than anybody else.
Yes, because they are a much up until Space Marines, up until Space Force, they were the smallest division out there.
Yeah, yeah.
But so for you, so you were in the military 6.5 years. So where did you go to basic training at?
South Carolina.
Okay, and then where did
Fort-
you do AIT?
That was in Georgia.
Okay, so where was it? I'm sorry, you started saying something. But sometimes you just
Fort
think so.
Jackson.
So Fort Jackson is where you did your basic training. Okay, and then when you went to Georgia, you were
Fort Gordon,
at Fort Gordon. And what
For
was your
AIT.
first duty station?
North Carolina.
North Kakalaki?
Yep.
At what?
The 82nd Airborne Division.
At which?
The 82nd
Fort.
Military Police Company.
What fort?
It was Fort Bragg.
Fort Bragg.
Yeah. Which
No
is
wonder you
longer-
wanted to like.
Which no longer called Fort Bragg. It's like Fort Hope or some fucking stupid nonsense.
Yeah, they just
but,
changed
yeah.
it.
They changed it back?
No, I mean I'm saying
Oh.
they changed it from
Yeah.
Bragg to Hope or something like that.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I don't know. And so was that your only duty station?
Yes, it was my only actual duty station. All the other places I was at during the military, I was in training.
Okay, so like when you say that you were stationed in Maryland, it was for training events.
Yep.
So how long were you in Maryland?
It was like 4 months, something like that.
And was that part of that? Was that part of
It was part of EOD school.
EOD school? Which I'm not going to get into too much of the details about it because
Yeah.
sometimes you kind of get a little look on your face like you're still indifferent about it. But so you went to EOD school, made a mistake, went through it again, made another mistake, and you said, "Fuck it, I'm doing it live."
No,
Right.
I only went through EOD school one time,
One time.
and I failed, and then I was done. I mean, you can.
Oh, that's because you had to. The retest doesn't count as a second time through.
Yeah, no, that
Okay,
was
okay.
just that one particular class. I took that same class twice
Yeah.
and failed both times.
You know, and we have an episode where we talk about you being in the military, and I still am not ready to release it. I don't know if I'll ever be able to release it because we talk about what do you think if you would have stayed in the military, what would have happened, and then we talk about all the different things that's happened since you didn't stay in the military.
I'd be dead or retired right now.
Probably dead, just because your age issues and attitude. Like there's only so much training you can do before you will fucking snap
Yeah,
when you're out in the front lines.
I definitely would not have pulled a Kreutzer though.
No, but that did happen right around the time you were in the military.
Yeah,
correct?
that happened when I was in my first unit,
Yeah.
right across the street from where I was at, pretty much.
Yeah, and pretty much it was a guy whose wife left him and he didn't want to
Yeah, and his
deploy or whatever, and he just went nutty and started shooting a bunch of people.
chain of command didn't take what he was saying seriously.
Yeah, which it's, we talk a lot about mental health, and I think it's important to talk about mental health because, like, he was being bullied. Essentially, his take on it was he was being bullied and he was being picked on, and, and he kept complaining to people about the treatment he was given, and they basically told him to rub some dirt in it and, put a tampon in his pussy and be on his way. So which has really been the way we've dealt with mental health issues for a long time.
Yeah.
It's not the right way to deal with it for the most part, but the military used to have a reason for doing it that way. And that was to try to toughen men up because war is more gory than somebody, laughing at you because you're henpecked or whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. No excuse. He went what we call postal and committed some murders. And
he killed one dude. He shot 18 people and only killed one.
I thought it was 2 or 3.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was only one. Well, the major that tried to bum rush him, he shot him in the face.
Yeah. And it's just a tragic situation. It's not the first time somebody has gone postal. It will not be the last time.
Yeah.
But that did happen around there. And then let's see. So EOD, for people who don't know, is the explosive ordnance
disposal. Yeah.
Disposal.
Bomb squad, basically.
I wanted to be part of the bomb squad. And that's not blowing up a toilet with your ass. That's literally making sure shit doesn't blow up. Right?
Yes. Not making sure stuff doesn't blow up inopportunely. Let's put it that way.
Yes. If it's going to blow up, it needs to be blown up properly.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure you know because you're training how to blow shit up properly now.
Oh, yeah. That was amazing.
This is a podcast that people can listen to where you're supposed to go, oh, no, I don't know how to blow up stuff. You're like, fuck it. I'm smart. I'm going to let them know.
I was in the military.
Yeah. And so your primary reason for joining the military was?
To get out of Washington State.
Well, not necessarily Washington, but out of your small town or literally out of Washington and explore some of the world. To
see the world and get some training and experience and whatnot in the process.
And do you think that the military really did help shape who you are? Obviously, you're very, very intelligent. They can't tell because we're such smart asses to each other all the time. But I can guarantee people how smart you are. I know how intelligent you are. There are some things where you're not. There's some things where you're not intelligent. Social stuff is a little bit more awkward for you because you're like, why the fuck do I care if Janie's over there crying 'cause she stubbed her toe? Bitch, I'm reading Dresden. Ugh. Kidding. But you're very smart. Do you think it actually helped develop you into more of who you are now?
Sure. Yeah.
And what was the biggest thing it taught you? If there's 3 takeaways from the military, if there was 3 things it influenced or taught you, what do you think they are?
Don't murder people.
That's a really good takeaway. Unless they're the enemy and you're instructed to do so, correct?
That's not murder.
That's true. That's defense. Sorry.
Always cut the red wire.
That is so not even accurate anymore.
It wasn't accurate the first time somebody said it. Because the color of the wire doesn't mean shit.
It only matters where it goes.
And where it's coming from.
There's somebody sitting around in EOD school right now listening in, and he's going, I'm fucking colorblind. What are you talking about?
That's actually one of the things they test you for. You can't be colorblind and go to EOD school.
I understand.
So there you go.
No, but oh my God, Becky, look at his brain. It's just so big and stupid. Oh,
he's sorry.
No, apologize. Okay, no, seriously, what would be 3 important takeaways you took from the military that you continue to use every day? And you can't say the first aid thing. I did see it firsthand. You can't say it, though. What would be 3 things you took away from the military?
That's pretty much literally the only time I ever actually used any of my first aid.
I know, that's what you said. That's why I'm saying that doesn't count. It's definitely not organization and cleanliness.
No.
Not even close.
The funny thing is I'm very cleanly when it's group areas.
Right.
But when it's my own area, I don't.
Your inner child is like, I ain't got to make my bed.
I'm not making my bed.
I have to. You ain't got to bounce quarter off that. My bad.
I'm just gonna mess it up anyway.
That's my theory too.
Probably having a willingness to walk away
From a fight, an argument, a disagreement,
Yes.
or anything
but
that...
also like even if it's something that you thought you wanted,
Mhm.
when it becomes a point where you're like, okay, I'm fucking sick of this,
Right.
being willing to walk away. You can't continue on in a bad situation just hoping it's going to get better.
That's true.
And even if that bad situation is just you're sick of fucking dealing with the thing,
Right.
I mean, sometimes it does get better over time, but there needs to be a point where you say, okay, I'm not going to
Here's
deal
my
with this
limit.
anymore. Yeah.
And then no more.
Yeah.
So do you think because the military did teach you that you can and should walk away at times, do you think it changed what you feel maybe your natural limits would be, like upped them or lowered them?
It probably lowered them.
Right.
Like the job that I got straight out of the military.
Right.
I stuck around with that only around 6 months.
Yeah.
And the reason I stuck around as long as I did was because I had friends that I was working with
Right.
from the military. And so if they hadn't been there, I would have fucking quit it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I got fucked on my pay. Maybe I would have forgiven them the first time, but I probably would have left. So there's that. A lot of the other things like self-discipline, I already had a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of reinforced it.
Okay.
I was always an independent person.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm an only child and everything. So that if anything, it reinforced that also.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. It did perhaps increase my willingness to fucking go places where I knew nothing and no one.
Mm-hmm.
And then just be able to survive, I guess you
Right.
would say. Because before that, I had been,
Around
with
your
my
home area.
family and never leaving.
So
So
even though you're an only child and you were fairly independent because your grandparents raised you, and they're obviously much older than your parents would have
Mhm.
been. So what I'm hearing is you had already been fairly independent, and self-sufficient and independent are actually two different things. I think for me, my interpretation is that when you were younger, you were very self-sufficient. You did what you needed to do because obviously somebody else is guiding you, but you could take care of your own needs, your own demands and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously not financially at
Yeah.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
Yeah.
but you learned quickly how to do it. Whereas the military put you into complete unknown and they were just like, these are the rules and you better freaking follow them.
Yeah.
And so it taught you that independence of, oh, I better shut my mouth and do what I need to do.
Yeah.
Because that's a big thing that a lot of people don't realize when you go in the military is it's not, even today, even though it's much calmer, it's still not a matter of you going in and going, I don't want to do PT today. My back hurts. No.
Yeah. No.
That's no. That is the one thing I will say I have heard. And I know that you've said it did happen. I've heard that blanket parties still happen. Sock locks still happen.
Yeah.
Without even the blanket.
I mean, that's fucking crazy there, but I mean,
Well, then maybe you shouldn't jerk off in the communal shower, huh? I actually moved somebody who said that they got hit. Everybody got to hit him one time with a sock lock because they caught him jerking off in the communal shower, which is just disgusting.
yeah.
That's a big no-no because it fucks with the plumbing. It's a huge
Yeah.
thing. It's a big problem. Is there any other big takeaways you had from the military other than after a while you figured out you didn't want to do it long term?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, the military is what you make of it.
Right.
So if you are, if you're trying to blame everything on everybody else, it's really going to fucking suck for you.
Yeah.
Although there is an extent to which who you're around makes a huge fucking difference. And actually, I think probably the best thing that ever happened to me was getting sent to the 82nd.
Yeah.
Because they're very old school. And for a lot of people, that might sound ridiculous. Like, okay, they're old school, which means they're fucking hardcore as far as their
They're a little bit
discipline.
tougher. Yeah.
Well, and not even necessarily being
I mean, that's
tougher,
what people are going to assume when you say old school.
but they're harder on discipline, and so they keep everybody more in line. Whereas there's a lot of units, like when I was going through EOD school, I went to some other posts and I was looking around at everybody and being like, what the fuck is going on here? This person's hair is too long. This person's fucking boots ain't bloused. And they're walking around. This dude's walking around without a fucking hat on. What the fuck is actually happening here? And it's like, if this were happening anywhere on Fort Bragg, but especially in fucking Division area,
Yeah.
somebody would have their foot up all these people's asses.
Right.
And it made it more professional, for
Yeah.
one thing.
Yeah.
And it seemed, I don't know because I didn't actually work in those environments,
Yeah.
but it seemed like everybody was more close-knit.
Right.
I mean, on the one hand, you're like, oh, we're badasses, we're airborne, you're all fucking chodes.
Right. We have smaller cliques, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that tends to happen no matter where. Maybe the groups are bigger in the other division that have the longer hair or the
It's
slack
possible.
buttons or whatever,
Yeah.
because it's more relaxed. You don't have people who'd rat other people out.
Yeah.
But then when you're in a division that's very much more old school, and you're only going to find that clique of 5 to 15 people, because you're going to be looking at everybody else. You might see somebody whose hair is like a quarter inch long and be like, fuck that guy. He's going to get us all doing push-ups till 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, I think you learn really quickly who your people are.
Yeah.
It's a very funny thing, because a lot of people I've dealt with in the military, they're like, yeah, the military teaches you how to be disciplined and how to be clean. I've seen your motherfucking houses, okay?
Yeah.
Like what you described to me is what a normal day would be at a Navy job.
Yeah.
And I get it. I mean, not everybody. There's a lot of people, that's how they rebel. I have got to be snapped sheets on the ship. Like, I get it. Like, I totally get it. But in the same token, I wonder how much rebelling you're actually doing versus how much actual self-harm you're doing by letting things become that way. Because with some of those houses I went to, by the time you got to the bottom of it, there's black mold. My partner and I went to a house that was just, but they wouldn't turn it away because we needed the money at the company.
Yeah.
And he got 3/4 of the way through a bedroom and there was an entire corner that was black mold. And I mean, this guy, I'll tell you a little bit about him off camera or off mic or whatever. But the bottom line is one of the things I love about our military base is a lot of the contractors under the new contract that's taking care of the buildings, a lot of them are veterans. And this kid was trying to blow smoke up this guy's ass, and I heard him yelling at this kid clear down the hall and outside.
Yeah.
And I just love it, because what the fuck's he gonna say? What the fuck's he gonna say? Sit there? I mean, the dude let him go through his lie after lie about this. I've been complaining about this for 3.5 years since I've been here, blah, 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 blah. And the guy was just like, now it's my turn. And he had all the paperwork and all the pictures and everything. It was insane. Anyways.
Yeah.
So more discipline, the ability to be by yourself in new environments.
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
Willingness to walk away.
Willingness to walk away, which I think is hard for a lot of people to do, because we get romanticized to a certain idea of how things should be and how we want them to be. And, you know, everything in life seems to be at times 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. So maybe it is a good thing that you learned 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, turn around and go the other direction.
Yeah. And also like, fuck, I forgot what I was about to say.
The ability to walk away from situations that aren't good for you also probably gave you the ability to also walk away from your rage at times too. I mean, honestly, your self-care that you do for yourself probably helps the most. But in instant situations, I don't think I think learning how to walk away, because trust me, I've seen you where you're ready to
Stab a motherfucker.
Oh my God. All I know is you would have won and that guy would have lost severely. Severely. I don't care who he thought he was. He was.
Yeah. One of the things I was going to say was that sometimes you get comfortable with the way things are.
Yeah.
This happens a lot in relationships, but also like in jobs where you're like, okay, I can't stand this situation, but I'm more afraid of not having a job or whatever than continuing with what's going on in this situation.
Yep.
And my particular situation, I was just sick of being in the military. It wasn't like I had a dickhead boss. Well, one of my bosses wasn't all that great, but I didn't have to deal with him most of the time. And I was good enough at my job and as a soldier in general that he didn't really have anything to say to me most of the time. There were other people that he would be all up in their ass, but I was never, well, one time I was the one, and it was because of falling out of formation while running. But other than that, I never had any problems with him, even though he was kind of an asshat. But it was just me being tired of the military in general. Yeah. So,
and I know that you'd mentioned that there was at least one or two different people that had been in the military for quite a while where you saw that they were just so monotonous in their life. It was just get up, drink coffee, go stamp the papers, go home, have a beer, go to sleep. Get up, drink coffee, go stamp the and it just. And
that dude that I was just talking about actually was the main one of those guys. Yeah. He was an E6 at the time, so he was like, I don't know, in his early 30s.
Okay.
And he had been in the military just like me since he was 18.
And he was, oh wow.
And he was fucking terrified of the idea of getting out of the military because he had no fucking clue. Even though, like I said, our job was pretty technical and it gave you a lot of understanding of radio equipment and electronics in general.
Yeah.
And computers even, although he wasn't one of the people that was working on computers, but anyway. So there's a fair amount of opportunities for you to get decent jobs.
Yeah.
Just in those industries, let alone it's fairly easy to get a job as a police officer or whatever. Also, when you're coming out of the military. Yeah, if you pass the
physical and the aptitude, you're going to do well in the classes.
So the military opens a lot of doors.
Yes.
And he was still terrified of seeing what was on the other side because he had been in the military so long.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to become him.
Yeah. I mean, who wants to be terrified for the rest of their life?
Yeah.
Who wants to be terrified? Like, once you can't do, like, obviously the last year has been a huge adjustment for both of us, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a period of time where I did have that anxiety about what's next. And it drove me a little bit nuts. Mm-hmm. But I realized over the duration of last year, it was twofold. And it was one, I stayed in an employment situation full time that did not behoove me. Yeah. The bullying was just the bullying and the vandalism to my car because I wanted to follow the rules of the contracts that I had signed. You know, it was ridiculous. And the company did nothing about it. Nothing. And it's so funny because they can sit there and say, oh, we did something. No, you didn't. And the state of Washington has it on record that you didn't do shit. And that's also for any of my former coworkers who are just like, oh, blah, blah, blah. No, you weren't there. You didn't go to the hearing. They were found guilty. Anyways, so, but processing that, trying to figure out a way to make your voice heard when you're dealing with something that, you know, you think no matter your age, you think you're kind of really tough and you hold on to a lot of stuff and you're just like, I'm tough. I can take this. And then you just can't. It does wear down on you after a while.
Yeah.
And especially when it's coming from three primary people over nothing.
Yeah.
One was because I was a female, and the other two was because we don't want to follow what the contracts say. That's too much work. That's your job. That's what you're being paid for.
Yeah.
But I get the idea of not being able to, like, having that fear of walking away, but you can't have that.
Yeah.
You know, and I do know that it is a scary thing because one of the houses that we were moving, so we showed up on base to start packing out this house, and the lady's freaking out. What the hell are you doing here? We told you not to come. And her husband's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, I'm just going to call her Mary. I'll call him Mary and John. He's like, Mary, you need to take our daughter and you need to go. You need to leave right now. I'm working on this, not you. And she's freaking the fuck out. I mean, like freaking the fuck out. And he's just like, as soon as she left, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'll call my dispatcher. And he goes, it's not your fault. He goes, I did not re-up. And I said, oh, okay, that's why we're doing a end of duty station move for you, right? And he is just like, yes. He goes, I was supposed to have a job. He goes, I actually got hired for a job. I'm like, oh, cool. He goes, they just went through layoffs and I was one of the 300 people laid off. He goes, and my job wasn't even supposed to start for 3 months. It wasn't supposed to start till the first part of the year. And I'm like, he goes, I have no home. I have nowhere to go. I'm trying to re-up and I failed a test. He failed one of the physicals.
Okay.
And they were going to give him one more opportunity before his end move date. And they would not let him retest because his blood pressure was too high. So he was trying to figure out if there was a place they could stay on post. He was trying to get a storage unit. And I'm just like, dude, none of that's my problem. I'm just here to pack.
Yeah.
I'm here to pack. And even if I pack stuff, if I have it inventoried, even if it gets canceled, I've done my job. And then that way, if you do, and what was really weird about it, he goes, can I ask you to wait for an hour? I'm trying to get a hold of so-and-so to get a final determination. And he actually, I don't know how they did it, but he got a 3-month extension to stay in the house that he was, and he did get rescheduled. And the cool thing for him was that in that 3-month extension to stay on the military base, in the military housing, because he legit, orphan, no family, just him and his wife and his kid, nothing. And she's not even from here. She's from overseas.
Yeah.
The cool thing for him is he actually did find an employer. But the biggest thing for him was he was basically moving from the base up to Bellevue. And he didn't know how he was going to afford his first month's rent, but he didn't care. He got in with one of the uppities up there. But he was just like, it's $2,800 for a 450 square foot studio apartment.
Wow.
And I'm like...
Thank you, Seattle.
Yeah. Thank you, King County. But I can understand that fear.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, that was her fear too. She thought she was going to have to, even though they were married and they had been married for 7 years, she thought that she was going to have to like fly home to Germany and go live with her parents and take their kid and be, and then she thought, well, wait, my daughter was born here in the U.S. They're not going to let me take my daughter. I mean, she was just in full-on panic mode. Yeah. She was one of those people that was just like, I peeked on the other side of the curtain, and it's not what I thought was going to be there. I mean, and he was a really nice guy. He was really nice, and I felt bad. But I actually went back and packed him when he ended up moving up to Bellevue. So, and I was just like, I'm really glad. And he was just like, yeah, he goes, so what it was, why he couldn't re-up, why they wouldn't re-up is, first of all, he missed his deadline of when he's got to sign the paperwork by, right? So then when he finally went, oh crap, because he missed his deadline, 2 weeks later, he found out this job, he literally got an email before he ever even had his first day at work saying, we're sorry to inform you, but this entire division has been laid off. And he's like, what? Yeah. Right? But for him, he high blood pressure, so he couldn't pass the test. And then he actually found out he had a tear in his ACL.
Okay. On his knee. Yeah.
Yeah. It was either in the ACL or the meniscus or whatever. And he was just like, but he goes, I got surgery. See I'd actually seen him post surgery. They actually got him in really quick and took care of it.
Nice.
I mean, I don't know if 2 months is really quick, but anyways, well, we thank you for your service. We thank you for what you were willing to be able to do. And what's really cool for me and us being friends is, first of all, I've got a good comrade for the apocalypse because you're not afraid to skin or kill anything that you have to.
Yeah.
And I won't let you run around naked because I know how to sew. It's really kind of disgusting the amount of knowledge we have between the two of us. Yeah. That would be good survival skills, But no, so you knew a little bit more about the military than I thought because, I
mean, I'm a weirdo and I was in the military.
He's a psycho. No, but big nucks to you. Good job. Yeah, there was a couple of the information in there a little bit was just like, to me was like, I don't have a better way of saying it, but it really, when you look at the numbers, goes to show that our United States Armed Forces is our biggest employer in the United States.
It's fucking huge.
Which it is huge, but it also goes back to where your brain rewinds a little bit and goes, it needs to be like it was during the Industrial Revolution, where we were more industrious. Everything shouldn't be pieced out to other countries.
Yeah.
Which is stupid if you think about it, because of all these extra tariffs. So you're shipping it over there to have the work performed to be cheaper, and then you're shipping it back to sell it here. But now that you have the 30 to 50% tariffs, you didn't save any fucking money. Just saying. Anyways.
We need a cyber force also.
That is Homeland and the Homeland Security, I think.
I think technically each branch of service has their own.
Yes, they all each have their own cybersecurity, and I believe Homeland Security is also in charge of our cyber forces as well. Anything else to add to our military minute we had today?
No.
I hope you guys have a great day.
Hooah!
Hoorah!
Later.
Bye!
Airborne.
Okay, everybody. That's all the time we have for today. So I want to thank you for stopping by to enjoy the conversation. We're glad you're here, and please share and share again and share some more. And if you haven't already, subscribe. We'll be having another chat and another cup soon. We'll talk to you then. Look forward to seeing you.